it whole. That'll be $2 more, please. He gives it to me. All of a sudden, I had power and money. And money equals candy. This is a great business. Steven's snake starts growing right before my eyes. I'm getting out of this tree before somebody sees us. I pray every morning and night for God to forgive me. God, please forgive me. Please forgive me. But every Sunday I was up in the mango tree. Take another look. Take another touch. $2, $4. The price went up every week. I was in a bull market. Every day I would go to school with a pocket full of money and buy anything I wanted for me and my friends. Charmaine, what you want? Leslie, get whatever you want, man. Stephen, where's my Uncle Stephen? He got sent away to boarding school and my whole economy dried up. So now I had no money, but a big bag of guilt. I started praying a whole lot more.
Guys, keep it going for Debra. Thank you for sharing that story. Also, setting the bar real high for the newcomers. I appreciate that. Only quality, only the best at Chatterbox, guys. All right, we've got a couple more storytellers left. One of them isn't me. Yes, it is. But we'll get to that in a minute. But first, we have a regular who hasn't been here in a while, but we're glad to have her. Put your hands together for Joy.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been here, and when I saw the theme for tonight, I was like, I'm not gonna speak, because I don't really have any once in a lifetime moment stories to tell, Well, there was that one time when I, got to do a photo shoot where a makeup artist did my makeup and put me on the cover of his book, but that, I had like all these bad thoughts in my head, or like I didn't enjoy it as much as I should have. And there was that one time I went backpacking around Europe for a summer with my sister and my cousin after they graduated from college, but I was depressed the whole entire time. I mean, when you look at my journal, it's like, oh, I'm sitting here in the Louvre and I'm just like so sad because I don't have a boyfriend and I don't know what I'm going to do when I get back to school next semester. So when I think about, I actually do have a lot of interesting and awesome experiences that I've had in life, but they've all had this tainting of, or just covered with anxiety and depression, because I didn't really realize I suffered from it all my life until it just became like a major problem as I was growing up and becoming an adult. And so I guess the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that I really want to talk about, the story that is probably the most positive in my life, is probably the most miserable moment I had. But I got out of a really bad relationship in probably about 2012 or something. So I was an adult. I was working a full-time job in a cubicle and miserable, and I was in this 1.5-year relationship with a guy that just wasn't very nice to me. And I finally got out of that relationship and thought, Joy, you're not really dating the best guys. You're kind of always in these moments with guys that really don't treat you well. So I don't know, this one common thread or common denominator in these situations is you. What are you doing to attract these kind of guys? What are you doing to accept this kind of treatment? So I did what I was really scared to do, but I went to therapy for the first time in my life, and I met this really awesome therapist. He looks like Papa Smurf. I still hang out with him to this day. He's awesome. And I actually started going to him, and it took about a year or two, and we were we were meeting like once a month, and I'd go in and just tell him about all my, the things that happened to me in my childhood and in college, and he would, like validate me and say, yeah, that was awful. And it's like, yeah, thank you. Like, it was awful. I was a total victim. And it wasn't until like 4 years of this process, like I was sitting there with him one day, and I thought that I had figured some stuff out, but he was like, it's interesting. Most people that come in here, they're here for like a year, maybe 2 years max, and we've been working together for 4 years. And I was like, yeah, I guess not that much has changed. I mean, I come in here every once in a while and I think I'm fine. And the next thing you know, I'm bawling my eyes out, kind of back at square one. And so when he kind of set the timeline for me, I realized, man, I haven't been doing any of the like homework that you've been giving me. I've been coming in here and reading the books and highlighting things and having these moments, but haven't really actually tried to put things into practice in terms of working on shame and working on anxiety and working on my unrealistic expectations of life and stuff. So it wasn't until this one time, it was in December, he gave me a book to read, and it's called, I think it's called A Guide to Rational Living. And I was reading this book, and it was talking about our irrational belief systems and how we have in our minds, it doesn't matter what kind of life you've come from, but as a child and as a human being, you don't get a rule book. So you're taking all this information from your experiences and creating these rules and these logics that you put in your mind as how to live and how the world works. And a lot of times they're very irrational, and we don't even realize that we're doing it. And so there's this one part about looking at your life in terms of perfection and having to have things perfect, and what are the rules that you live by. And one of them that really spoke to me was this success factor. And I was reading the story, I was reading the woman's story in the book, and it really spoke to me, and I thought, oh my gosh, yeah, all my life I have lived by the rule that I must be successful or I should die. I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't, if I'm not going to be successful in life, then I'm wasting resources, I'm wasting my parents' time, I'm wasting everyone else's time, I'm wasting other resources that can go to valuable people. Like, I shouldn't be here. And then I had to think, okay, well, if it's the option is be successful or die, what is my definition of success? And my definition of success was I have to be the best or be perfect at whatever I'm doing. So be perfect or die was what was going on in my head for my entire life. And that was, the moment was just, I stood there kind of just shocked, like, oh my gosh, this is such a harsh rule to live by. Like, why can't I just be myself? And that was the moment when I finally saw, after 4 years of working and crying on this couch, after 36 years of living a life with amazing opportunities, but I was never fully present, never fully enjoying them, to see that I do have value. Sorry. And that was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, because ever since then, I've been able to do things like this, to not be afraid, to come up and speak my story, to be judged, to try new things. And I guess my moral of the story, I apologize, I didn't know I was going to get this emotional. The moral of the story is, if you can look at those irrational beliefs, if you can look at some of those rules that you might not even know you have set up in your mind, and really truly question them, you can change your life. Thank you.
Keep it going for Joy, please. I'm so glad that you told your story and that you were able to share that up here with us. And you touched on something, especially at the beginning of your story, when you said that you weren't sure if you had a story to share, and if you had a story to share for this theme of once in a lifetime. And I think that goes through a lot of our heads, week after week with storytelling. at this show is, do I have a story? And that's a common theme, especially for, Jessie and I who are here hosting, as some nights we're not sure if the list is going to be full. We may have to tell a story, and it's, do I have a story for this? And the answer is yes. And that's the wonderful thing about storytelling, is that everybody has a story, and everybody has a uniquely tailored story to how they experience things and how they go through life. And so, yes, every one of you has a story, and thank you for sharing some of those with us. And which leads me to our final storyteller of the night. The reason why we're all here, the reason why we get to tell and share our stories with one another. Please help me welcome Jessie.
All right, guys. For those of you that are new here, this is going to be a strange announcement for you, but for those of you who have been here with us for a while, this announcement is tough. It's tough for me to make. It was tough for me to write the post before I came to the show tonight, but Chatterbox is ending. I've really enjoyed doing this show, but it's been 2.5 years, and I think just through my personal experience and growth and things like that, like I've come to a place where this show needs to, kind of hand off the mic to someone else. There are so many shows in the Valley, and the next 2 shows that we have, you'll get plenty of resources and information about other things that you can check out for storytelling, for open mics, and other creative outlets, because I don't want you all to stop, sharing your truth or expressing yourselves in the way that makes you feel the most comfortable. There are plenty of shows that can take that on and can welcome you there. So that's the announcement first and foremost. Our last show is going to be May 1st, so it's 2 weeks from now, next week, and then the following week will be the last one. We're going to make it a fun celebration, so make sure you come out for that. It's going to be a good time, hoping to get a DJ, so it's going to be really fun. Gerry's already dancing for it, guys, so get excited. But invite your friends. It's going to be a really fun just celebration of kind of what this has been so far. So my once-in-a-lifetime story. Oh, Joy, you set me up to cry. My once-in-a-lifetime story is the opportunity to host this show, the opportunity to put this on for people week after week, and to meet so many wonderful, amazing, beautiful, unique people. I found storytelling after a really terrible experience in a relationship that ended in physical assault. And it was through those experiences and the people that I met when I first started storytelling 5 years ago that led me to be able to have this show myself. And I had it for a year over at the Grand, which is across the street and across the light rail. And then I moved it over here, which has been a far better location. Sorry, Grand. Just because it's a wonderful space. It's very warm and welcoming, and there's already a community here of people. So it was fun to kind of build on that. But it's grown into something I never thought it could be. And I think for me that was the coolest thing, because like Joy, I think I share some of that weird perfectionism success thing. And when it started to take off and Chatterbox started to get some traction, I was excited because I was like, oh, this is the thing that people like, and people want to do this. And I was worried about just doing the show by myself, because doing a weekly show on your own, lugging sound equipment and setting up lights and making sure the stage is ready, because the venue, not this venue, didn't have, things swept or set up or anything, and just doing that, it was hard. And I did it every week because I loved it. And there were days that it was so hard just to be here because of shit in my life, because of how I was feeling that day. And I knew, I was push yourself, you're going to be annoyed on the way there, but when you get there, it's going to be wonderful. And it was every time. And it turned into this space for me. Chatterbox is like my church, other people are religious and they go somewhere every week, or they talk to people, or they have a group of people every week that they do something with that, brings them enlightenment or gives them some sense of community and family. I'm sorry, guys.
this show is